Australia is one of the very few countries that can claim any dominance over COVID-19. How we're doing it may include a bit of good luck, but it's definitely because of a lot of good management. Consequently, we're the envy of the world. A year on in Europe and North America, the spread of the virus could barely be worse, and hundreds of millions of people are confronting the prospect of a second bleak winter of deadly disease. It was these pictures coming out of Italy in early March that shocked the world into realising this pandemic was real and deadly. The healthcare system there was being overwhelmed when I interviewed Professor Giacomo Grasselli, medical coordinator of all the intensive care units in Lombardy, northern Italy.
Most of the countries in the world, in Australia, maybe still in the United States, Northern Europe, you are still in a phase where probably the virus is around, is infected people, but the bomb has not exploded yet. So you are probably in the first phase before the bomb explodes.
And it is a bomb.
Yeah, in some way it's worse than a bomb because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow and the day after. But you know that it's going to be worse than the day before.
It must break your heart, though, that here you are facing this bomb again, as you described it the first time.
The worst part of it is that people, but I'm talking about, let's say, doctors and nurses, are really tired.
8 months after our first interview, Professor Grasselli is back working virtually around the clock, battling Italy's second wave.
These people who really did miracles during the first wave are now called to redo the same things. It's like you run a marathon, okay, you got to the end of the marathon, you're satisfied, okay, I did this marathon, and now someone tells you, okay, now you have to turn around and go back.
The good news is medical workers now have a better idea how to fight this virus. The bad news? Italians are also fighting themselves, with anger being directed at the very people trying to save them.
Now the sentiment of the people is completely different. So, we were celebrated like heroes during the first wave. Now there are episodes of violence and discrimination against healthcare workers, because in some way people think that we are responsible for what's happening, especially of the economical consequences, because there are people who go on TV and they say, okay, this is nothing, it's like a flu, and so we should not close down everything for this.
Something's gone wrong. Did they just simply go on holiday?
Well, there's a large component of that, literally. It was their summer holidays. There was a large economic impact, and I think rather than maintain adequate restrictions, having that respect for the virus that you'd learnt in earlier in the year, if you undo everything, then yeah, it comes back. It's the same as before.
That's an interesting word you used, respect. And it is respect for this virus, isn't it?
Yeah, respect with a dose of fear, I guess.
Professor Dale Fisher is the Singapore-based chairman of the WHO's Outbreak Alert and Response Network. I have to ask you, which country has been the car crash in this?
Well, I think I might leave that one alone. I think there are countries that have struggled, there's no doubt. And clearly the United States, which should have been a much stronger performer, has struggled through that leadership and coordination problem and not having a strategy, not having a plan.
Before this pandemic started, the USA was considered to be the best equipped country to deal with it. But almost a year on, it's a basket case. With less than 5% of the world's population, America has 20%, over 13 million of all COVID-19 cases. How do you assess what you're seeing in America?
You can have the best health system in the world and the most educated experts and the strongest research, the strongest capacities, but what it shows you is if the leadership and the coordination of the response is missing, then it's like the rest doesn't matter.
Wearing a mask is not a political statement. It's a scientific recommendation.
It's COVID, COVID, COVID. You can't watch anything else. On November 4th, you won't be hearing so much about it.
The leadership's critical, and listening to the science is critical, and being nimble is very important, being able to adapt, being able to admit you got something wrong and change tack.
As a result of Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer announced on Monday that its China virus vaccine is more than 90% effective.
There's no doubt the Trump administration's failures in dealing with COVID-19 were a factor in the recent election loss. But the outgoing president is hoping his battered legacy could be saved by a knockout vaccine.
This is 5 times faster than the fastest prior vaccine development in history. 5 times faster. Say it again, 5 times faster. Nobody can believe it, actually.
How much faith do you have in the vaccine solving the issue?
So firstly, I think it's been very unfair on the public just to be continuously drip-fed news about vaccines. And it's a very tricky phase because we're going to keep getting more and more information. People want it over, and I just think it's not fair in a way on the public. I think we have to let the science run its course.
But still, it will be a vaccine that will get us out of this, and there's nothing else, is there?
A vaccine will be a tool. It will help. We don't know how much it will help, but the belief that it's the panacea that will end everything, I think, wouldn't that be great? But I think to be realistic, we have to say we need more information from clinical trials on this and other vaccines.
There's now real optimism surrounding a number of COVID-19 vaccines, but it could be months, if not years, before a universal jab is available. In the meantime, the message is clear: don't drop your guard.
I don't want to get COVID. I don't think we know enough about it. What are the long-term effects? You wouldn't want a virus in your phone or computer because you don't know what's going to happen. So I don't know why anyone would be lax about letting a virus that's brand new into their body.
And that perhaps is the lesson for Australia as we come into our summer holiday.
Yeah, it hasn't gone away. You may have some there. And if you do, look at the downside. So you've got a role. The public has a role more than ever before in any other disease. You're the team.
Well, I do hope I don't speak to you again for a third wave. I'm so sorry we're even talking about the second wave. It has to, I hope, end soon.
Yeah, it will. No, it will, for sure. It will. Sooner or later it will end. We will make it, I'm sure.
I'm sure you
Together, we'll make it.
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.